Hello, everybody. Welcome to Slobio's World. Great show today. Make sure you stay till the end. You don't want to miss it. I do have a couple questions I'd like answered, and do subscribe and comment on these questions. The first question is, what is the law? Second question, who does the law apply to? Oh, it's a legit question. It's a real question. I'm not sure I know what the law is and who the law applies to. Think about it. Here's what we do know. The United States, in fact, does have immigration laws. I personally know people that have gone through the process to immigrate to the United States of America the legal way. It's long, intrusive, and expensive. But legal law-abiding people follow the processes. By following the process, you don't get any help from the taxpayer. This being true, then why are some people allowed to come into the United States of America and bypass the immigration process, and others have to go through that process legally? The United States of America does have immigration laws. States and counties should not be able to supersede federal immigration law. The bottom line here is there shouldn't be a place in the United States where illegal aliens should be able to hide. So if politicians, judges, illegal immigrants are not required to follow the law, why are the working tax-paying citizens required to follow the law? Subscribe and comment below. Let's check out this video now. Tell me what you think.
This morning, we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television.
I echo his thoughts here. That would be a horrible way to learn about the passing of a loved one.
We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that. What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict.
There's a strange vibe here, like he knows or feels like he may be dealing with many federal agents in the very near future.
It's governing by reality TV, and today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear, Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident, but we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this: I feel your anger. I'm angry.
I say this: gaslighting projection done properly is like a magic trick, because really what you're doing is convincing people that what they see is not real, and what's real is fake and hocus pocus. You've got people believing the opposite of reality. It truly is a magic trick.
We want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do.
I'm not so sure I would say
we can't give them
always.
what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this: please stand with Minneapolis.
This is an excellent example of what we were just talking about. In this example, of course, most Minnesotans would not want potential fraudsters, illegal aliens, gang members running through the streets of their communities. Who would want that? That wouldn't even make sense.
To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice.
I would think the confidence level of that claim would be lower than Donald Trump's approval rating with cocaine users right now.
The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management.
Oh, this is getting good now. Finally, all law enforcement is joining forces to get the fraudsters and the cartel members. At least I'm assuming that's what's coming up. Let's watch.
We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government.
Nope, nothing to see
To
here.
Donald Trump
Move
and Kristi
along.
Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community, they're business owners, they're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans.
Oh, I was confused. So the Minnesota National Guard will be going after the potential illegal aliens, gang members, and fraudsters. Okay, that's great for Minnesota, too. Let's hear the rest of the plan.
Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Yeah, and I can let General Schaefer talk about this. It so happens it's a training.
Finally, he's going to get into his duties as the governor of Minnesota and protect the citizens. We're finally going to get to hear about the plan to stop the fraudsters, illegal aliens, and gang members in Minneapolis. Thank you, Mr. Walz.
Weekend. We've got about 7,500 troops in training at our sites, training sites across the state. What it is, and in the National Guard, you give a warning order, which is a heads up of something could be coming. That just allows people to think about what they would need, what it would mean to mobilize, what it would mean to put them in. And I could let the general talk a little bit about this. Obviously, since the summer of 2020, we had a lot of work done on teams being ready to make sure that civil unrest. And what that means, and I think Commissioner Jacobson was very clear, and I want Minnesotans to hear this from me. The desire to get out and protest and to speak up to this administration of how wrong this is, that is a patriotic duty at this point in time, but it needs to be done safely. And I think the commissioner simply...
Okay, I'm so effing confused suddenly. You want the protesters to go out with the National Guard and get fraudsters, illegal aliens, and gang members? That doesn't make sense. Is there something else going on here that I'm just missing? I'm assuming we're going to go after the potential illegal aliens, fraudsters, and gangsters, right? I mean, that's true. Are we going to do that? Who's going to do that? Hello?
Or the outrage that we have. Look, this was totally predictable, as I said it yesterday.
This I 100%
and it was totally
agree.
Avoidable. And I just want to remind you, too, that local law enforcement, we get no coordination. They don't tell us they're coming. They don't say why they're sending the largest deployment in American history to Minneapolis. They're not making us any safer. We don't have any of that coordination. They should be talking to us when we...
I don't understand. So the purpose of the National Guard and the troopers is to protect protesters, but not get the illegal aliens, fraudsters, and gang members. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, because I would think if you had the illegal aliens, fraudsters, and gang members taken care of, you wouldn't need to protest anything.
Do these things, let us know. We are going to be down here. This is going to happen. We don't have that. So when you see local law enforcement or state patrol, or if it would take the National Guard, we're there responding to the chaos they've created too, but our role is to make sure that we're protecting Minnesotans so that something like this doesn't happen. I have not. The question was, have I spoken to the individual's family? No, we do not have a definitive ID on this individual. And I'm going to note to all of you, I think it's really important, and the professionals do this, and they train me to do this. This is an open investigation. You need to be very careful about it. I know that many of you, myself included, have seen a very difficult video to watch, one where there's a family member watched their family member be shot and killed in front of them. It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself.
I couldn't agree more. What a horrible thing to watch. And equally as horrible if, let's say, the federal agent was in fact dragged underneath the car and his children saw that on television. So yeah, violence is never a good thing, and that's why you should always try to avoid it at all costs. and certainly not be the focal point in an ICE investigation that is looking for potential fraudsters, illegal aliens, and gang members. Why in the world would you get in the middle of that?
Has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle. We're not living in a normal world. And so, no, I have not. And I want to be very careful because I know how painful this is. I know how painful it is right now. I'm saying person and all that. This is a human being. This very well is an individual's child, a parent, and we don't know that yet. So, no, I have not, but once we do, we will. So, yes. I think in this case that the National Guard is their main mission. They have a dual mission. There's the federal mission when they're under Title 10 orders, and then they're under Title 32 orders. In this warning order, there's nothing officially been done yet. If I am to activate them as the Commander-in-Chief of the Minnesota National Guard, I will issue the executive order to the Minnesota National Guard, and then they will be put in state duty status. And as you've seen over the last few years, that could be flood prevention, that could be after a wind-blowing storm up in the north, up in Bemidji, or it could be COVID or George Floyd response. In this case, again, it doesn't necessarily change the mission. They're there to protect Minnesotans. They're there to serve Minnesotans. I think the thing that is so challenging in the moment we're in is we don't see a desire to work with us on public safety. We hear a demonization of our state. We see people coming in who don't know our community, and we see this massive display.
Why do I feel like I want to hear more of the story? Like, why in the world would there be the largest deployment of federal agents in the history of Minnesota? Is it because the laws are being broken in the state of Minnesota to the level that the largest deployment of federal agents have to go there?
For the TVs that we're trying to understand how is this coordinated, and some of you watch the videos on there. Total chaos. And look, I have very limited work in this is the training in the National Guard, but I've had a lot of training now to watch how our professionals operate. After this person was shot, federal agents milling around, touching the vehicle at a crime scene and things. I don't know what to tell you, and I don't quite know how to respond to the question, other than my primary responsibility as governor is the protection of the people of Minnesota. And you can be assured, whether it's the State Patrol or whether it's the National Guard, their deployment is there to protect Minnesotans from whatever it is. If it's an act of nature, if it's a global pandemic, or in this case, if it is a rogue federal agent. I don't know at this time, and I want to be very...
Hello? Did I just mishear that? Did he say they've got the police, the National Guard there to protect the people from a rogue federal agent? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. I thought this was about getting fraudsters, illegal aliens, and gang members off the streets of Minneapolis, not a rogue federal agent. What the hell is going on up there in Minnesota?
Very careful. It's unprecedented that we have the federal government's already determined exactly what's happened here and the motives of an individual that we don't even know the name. They don't know the name. And that's very difficult. So, well, one more. Dana. Look, and I understand the uniqueness of this moment in this week, following this week, seeing what's happening in the backdrop of a show hearing in...
For a second there, I thought he was going to say the backdrop of the potential largest fraud in the history of the United States of America. Kind of a big deal.
In D.C., my job is to govern, and my job is to see what the facts are. This happened a couple of hours ago, and we're already pitting American against American. All of you saw a video in your eyes. We have a chaotic situation caused by the largest deployment in American history of federal agents into a community with no communication to locals. We had a chaotic situation where an individual is in their car, shot and killed. And so, look, I want to be very cautious here because Donald Trump will make this about me. he will make this about politics.
Yeah, it's got to be Donald Trump. And nothing to do with politics. It's just Donald Trump picking on Governor Walz. That's all this is, everybody. So nothing to see here. The largest fraud in the United States history? Nothing. It's Donald Trump picking on Tim Walz. That's what this is all about. He's turning it into politics, even though politics is 100% the reason any of this is going on. But what the hell? Seriously?
This is about public safety, and this is about normalcy. To Americans who are watching this, if you're in Portland or you're in LA or you're in Chicago or you're wherever they're coming next, stand with us. Stand with us against this. This was so preventable, so unnecessary, and
this I absolutely agree with.
I
It
don't
was
know.
100%
Maybe
preventable.
we're at the McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead in their car for no reason whatsoever, and I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed, and they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act.
I would think most Minnesotans want the feds there to find out what exactly is going on in Minnesota. And I believe they want to clear out illegal immigrants, and they want to get rid of fraudsters and have justice served. I believe that's what anybody would want anywhere. So to try to convince people of otherwise really seems desperate.
Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And let's let this investigation play itself out. Let's make sure we protect our neighbors. I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
Boy, you shine the light on a state like Minnesota, and you find out that it appears to be in trouble. It just feels like there's many abuses going on to the citizens and the taxpayers up there in Minnesota. And it feels like they have no voice or recourse. You know, Minnesota was always considered a nice northern state with great fishing and great culture. And now it's been turned into a haven for fraud, illegal immigration, and covered up by the media and government officials. The election process leaves it wide open for election fraud. It took a determined old man and a kid with a YouTube channel to expose what the government and media have been potentially up to or hiding. If any of all the claims are proven to be true, then any and all involved should be brought to justice. If that happens, maybe Minnesota can recover. Let's stay tuned and see if any sanity can return to Minnesota. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and comment. See you next time.